Hello guys, you are welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we will learn about JavaScript methods on number. In a previous lesson, we learned that number is another type of data in JavaScript. We use this data type to store and manipulate numbers. In this lesson, we will learn about how to declare variables of data type number. We will also learn a few methods that can be used to manipulate numbers. Let's jump into it. So I will begin by using the let keyword and declare a variable called a. Bring my equal sign, and to declare a variable of data type number, you just write the number. You don't put it in a quote. Okay, so let's say 2. So if I call type of a, then I'll get number. Now what if I decide to put the number in a quotation mark? Can you guess what the number will be? Of course, if you are guessing that it will be a string, then your guess is accurate. So let's say b is equal to this, and I call type of b, then I'll get string, because we use quotation mark to show that a particular data is of data type string. So I'll declare a few more variables of data type number, and then from there we will move on to some methods that can be used to manipulate numbers. So let c equal to 1.23. Great. Now before we move on to the methods, we can perform arithmetics on numbers. We can add, subtract, multiply, and divide numbers. So let's do that. So now I can say a plus b, and the reason why I'm getting 21 is because b is a string. So I'll change the variable b from 1 in the form of a string to 1 in the form of number. I'll call the b and reassign it to 1. So now if I call b, I get 1, which is number 1. So if I call a plus b, I'll get 3. Now I can also subtract. So let's say a minus b, then I'll get 1. Then the next thing that we are going to do is to multiply. So I can call, let's say, a. In JavaScript, we use the asterisk to represent multiplication. So a asterisk, let's say c, will give me the product of a and c. And the last arithmetic method is, of course, the division. To divide, we use the / as our division. So / let's say c, will give us the value of a divided by c. Now ladies and gentlemen, we are moving on to the JavaScript methods. I call on you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because there are so many incredible content coming up. The first method that I would like to talk about is the toFixed method. And what the toFixed method does is to convert a particular number to string with a specified number of decimal places. So let's try to assign the value for a divided by c to a variable. So let d equal to a divided by c, so that we can get a decimal. So if I call d, I will get this decimal. If I wish to store this decimal to a specific decimal places, then I can use the toFixed method. So if I call d dot toFixed, then I bring a bracket, I'll get 1. Now by default, if you don't put any number of decimal places in the bracket, it is going to assume that you want the number to have only 1 decimal place. So to make this more interesting, let's begin by 3. So if I bring 3 as the number of decimal places that I want, there will be 3 digits after the decimal point. So I can also try the same for toFixed, and let's say I'll try for 2. So if I try for 2, there will be 2 digits beyond the decimal point. Now don't forget that the toFixed method will convert the number to a string. So if I try to assign this to a value, so let's say let G equal to this. So if I call type of into bracket G, into bracket G, I will get a string because the toFixed method converts a number to string and then also to some decimal places based on the figure that is supplied as the parameter in the parentheses. Now the second method that I would like to talk about is toExponential method, and what this does is to convert a particular number to exponential notation. So d dot toExponential 2, then I will have 2 decimal places plus the exponential sign. So the E there stands for exponential. Now let me try a different digit. A different number. Let's say 10.573. So this will convert the number to 2 decimal places and in an exponential notation. So let me change this number from 2 to let's say 4. There will be 4 digits after the decimal point. Let's try 2. There will be 2 digits after the decimal point. Now notice how it does not round the value. Just take the decimal places and express it in an exponential notation. The next method that we are going to talk about is toPrecision method, and what this thing does is to express numbers in significant figures. So the toFixed method deals with decimal places, toPrecision deals with significant figures. So let's take the D and say toPrecision as we have here, and let me say I want 2. So before I bring the 2, look at the number very well. We have 1.49 blah 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 blah. So if I say 2, it rounds the 4.9 to 1.5. Now let's try 3. Then we will have the 1.49. Let's try 5. We use the toFixed method for decimal places. We use the toPrecision method for significant figures. So these methods are very useful, especially when you are building applications that requires calculations. For example, you are building a student report generator where you will find the average of students' performance, or you will be totaling students' grades and converting it from one percentage to the other. These methods are very useful, and look at how it also converts the data from number to string. So the toPrecision and then toFixed, they also convert the number from number data type to the string data type. So you take note of that. Now the next method that I'm going to talk about is the toString method, and as the name suggests, it converts a number to string. It doesn't do anything to the number, it only changes its data type from number to string. This method is very useful, especially when you want to generate random numbers and store them in the form of text. So let's call D and then say toString like this. So it will convert the number to string. Now the next method that we are going to talk about is the math method. The math method has so many other methods that can be used to manipulate numbers, and we'll talk about a few of them. So the first one is the ABS, which is a short form of absolute. So let's look at how the absolute works. Now with the math method, the math keyword must come first, followed by a full stop, then the method that you want to call on the number. So let's use the ABS method, and the number that we wish to find the absolute value is now brought in as a parameter in the parentheses. So let's say we have negative 2022. So with the absolute value, it will take away every negative number and present the positive version of it. So whatever number that we have, being it negative or positive, if we find the absolute number, we will forget about the negative sign. So the next method that we are going to talk about is the math.square root, and as the name suggests, we use it to find the square root of numbers. So I'll bring my math.square root like this, and any number that I bring in the bracket, it will find the square root of it. So let's try 16, we get 4. Let's try 25, you get 5. Let's try 49, you get 7. Let's try 100, we should get 10. Yeah, so we use the math.square root method to find the square root of numbers. Now the next method is the power method. We use the power method to raise one number to the exponents of the other. So to use the math method of power, we bring in our math.pow, two parameters, one being the base and the second being the exponent. So let's say 3 and 2, I should get 9. So what this means is that 3 exponent 2 is 9. Let's try 3 exponent 3, we should get 27. Let's try 4, we should get somewhere 81. We use the power method to find the exponent of one number. Now the next one that we are going to talk about is a minimum method, and as the name suggests, we use the minimum method to find the minimum value of a given set of numbers. So let's try math.min into bracket. Let's say I have 1, 2, 3, and let's try -1. In this set of numbers, -1 is the minimum, or is the least among them. So we use the math.min to find the minimum number of a given set. Now the next method is the opposite of the mean, which is the max. So as the name suggests, we use it to find the maximum number of a given set of numbers. So let me try 1, 2, 3. Let me try 80. Let's try 102. Alright, so we use the math.max method to find the maximum number of a given set of numbers. Now the next method that we are going to talk about is the Math.round method, and as the name suggests, we use the Math.round method to round numbers. So I have my round, and let's say 3.7 will be round to 4. If I try 3.3, it will be round down. So the Math.round method will round the number based on the value behind the decimal. If the value behind the decimal is 5 or more, it will round it up, and if it is 5 or less, it will round it down. So as you can see, the Math.round. So let's try another one, Math.round into bracket. Let's say 3.7, it will round it to 4. So that is it. Alright guys, so the next method that we are going to talk about is the round.ceil, and the ceil comes from the word ceiling. In a room, the ceiling is what we see when we look up, and what this method does is that it rounds a number up no matter what the value of the number behind the decimal point. So let's try and see what we are talking about here. So Math.ceil into bracket, let's say 1.1 to be round to 2, 1.01 to still round to 2, because we are saying that whatever number we are getting, as far as it's a decimal, we should round it up. So we use the Math.ceil method to round numbers up. Alright, now when you look down, what do you see? Please don't say carpet, you see floor. Alright, so the Math.floor method is what we use to round numbers down. So let's try Math.floor into brackets. Let's say 2.9 to round to 2, because we are saying that we use the Math.floor method to round numbers down irrespective of the value they have after the decimal. So we use the round method to round number either up or down based on the value of the number behind the decimal. We use the Math.ceil to round numbers up irrespective of the value behind the decimal, and we use the Math.floor method to round numbers down irrespective of the number behind the decimal point. Now the next method we are going to talk about is the Math.random method. This method generates random numbers between 0 and 1. So let's try Math.random. Then we get this. If I call this method again, you see that I'd get a different number. If I call this method again, I get a different one. If I call this method again, I get a different one. So this one is used to generate random numbers between 0 and 1. Now, can we put some math methods together to obtain a unique number or unique ID? Let's find out. So let's say I have an application that take users input and I want to distinguish every user by a unique ID. I can put a combination of math method to generate a random number. So first of all, don't forget that the Math.random number will generate a number between 0 and 1. This means that the value that will be generated will always be a decimal. It is also a bad idea to have an ID involving decimal. So we can either use the round, the ceil, or the floor method to round the random number that will be generated by Math.random. Then we can also multiply the number by, let's say, a 5-digit number in case we want the number of characters in our ID to be 5. So let's try. So I'll bring my Math.floor, that is if whatever number that I get, I want it to come down. Then I will call my Math.random like this. It will run the number down, and because we are running between 0 and 1, whatever value you get, it will be round down. Then I will bring my multiplication sign, and let's say because I want to have 4 digits, I can say 9999. So as you can see, I have generated a unique number of 4 characters. Okay, if I call this method again, you see that I get a new one. I call this method again, I get a new one. We can have another one. Can have another one like this. Can have another one. Okay, now it is not a good idea to store your IDs in the form of number. So what it means is that whatever we get, we have to convert it to string. So I can just call this method and say dot to string like this, and when I bring my parentheses, I obtain a string. Alright, thank you very much for watching this video to the very end. In the next lesson, we will be looking at the Boolean data type. I appreciate you for watching this video. Kindly like this video if you learned a thing or two. Post your comment in the comment section if you have any question or praise for my work. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Have a great day. Bye.